Week 4, we're going to talk about strategy. At this point, we should know the product very clearly, the product and service that the company is offering. We did a situation analysis, so we know where they are today. And in their project description, they talked about their business plan objective, so we know where they want to go. So with that, we're planning the strategy to figure out how to get there. What is strategy? There's a very good Harvard article that I've asked you to read by Michael Porter. He's really the guru on strategy. There is also a document that I've written that talks about what is in the strategic overview report, just like I have for situation analysis, and I've done the same for the other milestones. I also asked you to view a video by Bela Musits, and Bela talks about the strategies taken by companies like Dell and how they entered the market and what they did different, what competition that Canon had and how it overcame its competition with a new product, and Kia, which came onto a very busy automotive market, a very crowded one, and had some success with a very different warranty coverage that was very significant and caught everybody's attention. Other thing we want to do is peer evaluations in this week, and I've given you a form. It's on Moodle, and I want you to do is evaluate your peers and include yourself on that. And what I want to do there is to see how the team is working, if there's anything I can do to help to make the team work better. There's also more to explore, like we have in every week, and that's information if you want to dig a little bit deeper. What is strategy? In the next couple of slides, we'll be talking about what strategy is in a little more detail, but basically strategy is you're looking at a number of options and you decide the option, the path that you plan to take. Also, when you're doing that, you're looking at strategies and options that you will not take. So it's looking at the positive and the negative so that you've looked at all possibilities, all options. Think of strategy as this, positioning yourself for competitive advantage. I'm just going to read the next statement. Unique approaches to deliver customer values that is not easily imitated. So what is the special value that a customer obtains by getting a product or service from you and make it a delivery that cannot be easily imitated? Because certainly your competition is, if it sees your success, it's going to start to copy that. Here's a couple of examples of positioning for competitive advantage. Like, what did Dell Computer do that was distinctively different? What they did is they created selling directly to the consumer. At the time that Dell came in to do that, the way you would buy a computer was to go to a computer store. So they did it online, a way that you could configure your own computer, that software was installed, delivered to you a computer with software with a bunch of cables that are all color-coded, and it was customized for you. Very distinctive value and significant value to the customer. I mentioned everbank.com, fully banking services online. Reason I mentioned this, my son happened to be the 5th employee in everbank.com. This is back in the year 2000. 24/7 services, anywhere, anytime, high interest rates because they had no brick and mortar. Everything was totally online. Now that was for a special segment of the market, somebody who would be comfortable doing their banking online and ensuring that everything was secure. security was probably the major issue that they had to overcome. But it was a unique set of services at that time. Amazon, and we all know Amazon, love Amazon, retail online, and the success that they've had. They provided extensive search capability, a lower cost, fast delivery, convenience. That's really what positioned the company as a strong retailer, and it's just improved on those services so significantly that, yes, others are trying to get into that retail space, but Amazon is so firmly entrenched with value that customers really enjoy and want to have. Takeaway, the bottom line on this slide is know your competition, know your advantage, and create that significant advantage. Here's 3 areas, 3 avenues in which you can create value for the customer. One of them is product leadership. I don't have to tell you about all of the iPhone, iPad, etc. products that Apple came out with. Very innovative, very fast moving. Operational excellence. Something is like eBay. eBay was a great and is a great marketplace where I can bring my product, people come and do a search, and I do a sell, and eBay just charges me a commission for that and allows me to do that transaction. But the beauty of it, the excellence, is my reach. I can put something on eBay and I'm reaching millions of potential customers that otherwise I'd have no access to. Customer relationship. Southwest Airlines is a real leader in that type of a thing, where it's a friendly, customer service oriented type of an atmosphere that just makes you want to use their airlines because it's easy, it's friendly, and they certainly listen to the customer and listen to what the customer wants. Bottom line of this one is know your customer and find out their needs, their pain, and serve that. On this chart, I want to just highlight the idea of creating the options and making choices. Bela Musits talked about the Canon copier, and Canon copier saw the need for a lower price instead of very significantly high price, and that the customer would accept lower performance if it was a significantly lower price, and that fit, that was a choice and option they made, and that was listening to the customer and satisfying the customer. Certainly Apple, with the convenience that all of their products provide, and in this case it really was creating demand. 10 years ago we didn't know what a smartphone was, and now we can't live without it. So they are actually created the demand and then made those choices to serve that demand that they had created. Kia was a very extreme differentiator with their very liberal warranty policy. So that distinguished them very different from other automotive manufacturers. That's a choice they made. That's an option they made to make their product have a distinct competitive advantage. Now, the last bullet, I'm talking about choices and options at marketing, operations, finance level, besides the product level of choices. But marketing, you got the choices of what are the channels that you're going to use, and what is your particular market segment that you're going to serve. Operations, one of the factors in operations is, especially if you're making things, is manufacture in-house or outsource the manufacturing. That's a major option and a choice that you have to make. The financing can be, I'm good with debt financing, I'm good with the SBA or the bank, or I am willing to take outside investors, but then I am willing to give them equity or a share of the company. And that's a very distinct option that some companies do not want to give away a piece of their company. So that's an option they choose not to take. That's the bottom line. There is what are your strategic plans and options, and what will you not do? Now that you've set your strategy, you got to allocate resources against it to make it happen. So it can be in the planning phase. What are the resources you're going to allocate? Look at your total resources in the company. And certainly a key resource is people. Allocating people against that particular strategy and those particular functions. And you may look beyond the company to say, what's some partnerships I've got to create or have in order to effectively implement my strategy? Think this through carefully of what are the strategic options and choices that you would have within your company. And start with the product itself. You have a product or service fairly well defined, and is there a strategic segment of the market that maybe you want to serve? Is there anything you have to do with your particular product to serve that particular segment? So think of the product strategy and how your competitive advantage is through that product strategy, and then the strategies of your marketing and its options, operations and its options, and finance and its options. I just wanted to highlight here the things that I would expect in your strategic overview report. Porter's 5 Forces is very good to analyze your industry and what are the pressure points, what's the strengths or weaknesses in the industry. Is that industry attractive for you to be in, and understanding things that you may have to overcome? You certainly understand SWOT analysis. You've done enough of that. Defining mission and vision. Some people say, well, I don't need that kind of a thing. It's not a complex thing. The mission is, what's the purpose of the business? What are we trying to accomplish? The vision is, this is where we envision the company going to, its ultimate, maybe where we expect it to be. That could be a vision of where am I going to be in 3 years or 5 years, and it somewhat lines up with their definition of the objective of the business. The positioning, the choices that you can make, what are the resources you have, how can you apply those? Strategic intent is overall view of the strategic plan for the company in total. I talked about the product strategy, and then strategies in marketing, operations, and finance. Strategy, not mystical. It's one of creating, thinking of options, selecting the options, and then putting the resources against those options, as saying this is our plan, these are the paths that we're going to take with this company.